Thanks, Jaden. Good morning. This is Chair French convening the regular business meeting of the Kansas Corporation Commission for Thursday, January 30th. On today's agenda, we have 24 consent agenda items, 2 noticed items, and then 1 discussion item, which relates to discussion and potential action on an administrative personnel matter. So with that, we will begin our agenda with the consent agenda. Commissioners, I noted there are 24 items on the consent agenda, but I am going to remove consent agenda item number 3. This is in docket number 25 CONS 3235 CMSC at the request of council. So there will be 23 consent agenda items. With that, commissioners, you have reviewed, or you've had the opportunity to review those remaining 23 consent agenda items. Let me ask at this time if there are any questions on those items, beginning with Commissioner Keither.
No questions.
And Commissioner Keen.
No questions from me. Thank you. I will note that I am recusing on consent agenda item number 4. Noting that recusal, I would move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda, noting Commissioner Keen's recusal on item number 4, and also noting the removal of item number 3. With that, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, say no. The consent agenda is approved. We will now move to our noticed items. Our first noticed item is in docket number 24 EKCE 387 CPL, and this is a proposed order in that docket, and our presenter for this item is Mr. Brian Vadotin.
Yes, good morning, commissioners. On February 6th, 2020, the commission issued an order adopting integrated resource plan and capital plan framework requiring Evergy and its operating subsidiaries to make triennial integrated resource plan filings and annual updates. On May 17th, 2024, Evergy filed its 2024 triennial integrated resource plan, or IRP. On October 14th, 2024, commission staff filed a report and recommendation concluding that the 2024 IRP is consistent with the IRP framework adopted in 2020. On October 15th, the Citizens Utility Ratepayer Board filed its comments on the IRP and similarly concluded that the 2024 IRP filing complies with the reporting requirements under the IRP framework. On December 13th, 2024, the Council for New Energy Economics filed comments requesting the commission abstain from making a determination on an alleged deficiency and instead addressing it in Evergy's pending predetermination docket, which is docket number 25 EKCE 207 PRE. On December 19th, Evergy filed its opposition to the Council for New Energy Economics comments, explaining that this current docket and the predetermination docket should be adjudicated separately because they serve different purposes and involve different standards of review, different issues and proofs, and different procedural frameworks. And Evergy reiterated that the IRP is this IRP docket is simply to determine whether the IRP complies with the structure the commission adopted back in 2020. This order agrees with Evergy that the scope of the compliance docket is limited to determining whether the triennial 2024 IRP meets the framework established by the Commission in 2020. This order finds that the triennial 2024 IRP does meet the IRP framework. Having found the IRP meets the framework, this order concludes a determination on the merits of alleged deficiency 7 is beyond the scope of this docket. And rather than commit to addressing that alleged deficiency in predetermination docket, the Commission will consider evidence relating to the 2024 IRP to the extent that it is relevant in the predetermination docket. So basically, if it's relevant, it can be addressed in predetermination. And so with that, I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Brian. Are there any questions on this item, beginning with Commissioner Keither
No, thank you.
and Commissioner Keen?
No questions, but I would offer this brief comment. I thank you very much, Brian, for your highlighting the confines and the parameters of the scope of this particular order. I think that's really at the core of what's most consequential here in terms of this order, beyond the substantive matter and substantive effect of the order itself. Having said that, I will move approval of the order.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the order as described in this docket. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. The order is approved. We now move to our second noticed item. This is in docket number EKCE 207 PRE, and this is a proposed order on Kansas Electric Power Cooperative, Inc.'s motion to intervene. And our presenter again is Mr. Brian Fedotin.
Yes, thank you. KSA 661239 D3 provides in relevant part, in any proceeding conducted pursuant to this section, any application for intervention shall be submitted no later than 10 days after the petition for determination of rate making is filed. Under that statute, applications to intervene in this docket were due November 18th, 2024. On January 17th, 2025, Kansas Electric Power Cooperative, or KEPCO, filed its petition to intervene out of time and asking the Commission to exercise its discretion under KAR 82-1-217B and allow it to intervene after the 10-day statutory deadline. Basically, they're asking the Commission to use a Commission regulation to override a statute. This order declines to do so and finds that since the intervention was filed outside the 10-day statutory deadline of KSA 66-1239 D3, the petition for intervention is denied. With that, I'm available for questions.
All right, thank you, Brian. Are there any questions on this item? Beginning with Commissioner Keither
No questions.
and Commissioner Keen.
No questions from me either. Thank you very much for the overview of what's involved in this order. Again, Brian, I'd move approval of the order.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the order as described in this docket. Is there any further discussion? I will just add, it's kind of a cut and dry order. I will tell you my personal opinion is I'm not a big fan of the 10-day intervention rule that was put into statute, but that is the statute. If that didn't exist, I believe this party and maybe some other parties that have tried to intervene past that date would have had interest, and I would have granted it. I just don't see in the statute where we're allowed to do that. It's unfortunately not a matter of policy, and this particular policy has been set by the legislature. So I think that should be clear that we are not taking a position on the merits here. We're following the law as we feel we have to. So that's at least my perspective on it. So with that, we do already have a motion and a second to approve this order. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. The order is approved. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, now we move to to the one administrative item that I have listed here at the end of the agenda, and I'm going to give a little short preamble and description to explain what that cryptic agenda item means. So many folks know, but I will announce here that we're going to have a vacancy at the KCC. Lynn Retz, our executive director, announced that she would be stepping down from that position effective January 31st, which is tomorrow. She will be remaining with the agency in another role, primarily in government relations, but we will have a vacancy in the executive director role beginning on February 1st. So that creates some issues for us. There are certain functions that are delegated to the executive director or the secretary of the commission, and some of those need to be transferred to another individual until we fill that ED position permanently. Those are primarily ministerial duties that I will describe in just a second, and those have to be filled according to either statute or some of our regulations. I do want to emphasize we are not going to do anything with sort of some of the supervisory duties related to our support divisions. So essentially, those are going to remain with the commission. The commission will retain control and supervision of our front office and direct supervision of our support divisions that were previously delegated to the ED. Those would include our information technology division, our human resources division, and our fiscal services department. Those will now be directly supervised by the commission, and I expect that means that on a day-to-day basis, that supervision will occur through me. But as I mentioned, there are ministerial duties that we do need to delegate and have someone in that position to take those on. So I'm going to make a motion here unless anybody else has further discussion. I will also open it for discussion after I make the motion, if that's okay with everyone. So I'm going to make a motion pursuant to KSA 74-629, 74-630, and 74-631. I move to designate Abigail Emery as acting secretary to the commission effective February 1, 2025. In that capacity, Ms. Emery will assume the following responsibilities currently designated under our bylaws to the executive director. Number one, assign docket numbers pursuant to KAR 82-1-219. Number two, affix the official signature of the commission and the official seal of the commission to all orders, certificates, permissions, approvals, licenses, permits, warrants, subpoenas, or any other process or instrument, including minutes of the commission meetings pursuant to KAR 82-1-232. Number three, receive service of petitions for judicial review pursuant to KSA 77-613. Number four, pursuant to KAR 82-1-206, all written communications to the commission shall be addressed to the acting secretary, and all communications and documents properly addressed or filed shall be deemed to be officially received by the commission when actually delivered to the acting secretary pursuant to KAR 82-1-206. And number five, any other ministerial functions as identified by the chair of the KCC. And I further move that Ms. Emery's contact information be included with the minutes of this meeting. With that, that's the end of the motion. I know it was a mouthful, but I wanted to make sure we dotted all of our I's and crossed all of our T's. Do I have a second before I ask for any discussion?
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this motion?
Yes, Chair French, thank you for that opportunity. As a follow-on to the comments that Chair French offered, and I think they were all well stated and well taken. I think it is important to emphasize and to highlight the fact that all responsibilities being transferred are purely ministerial, and that none are supervisory in nature. I think you stated that very well, Chair French. I just wanted to reemphasize that. So having said that, that's the extent of my comments. Thank you.
All right. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, we've got a motion and a second. So all in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, say no. All right, the motion is approved. That motion will be noted in the minutes, and as I included, we will also include Ms. Emery's contact information with the minutes. With that, we have come to the conclusion of all the items noticed on today's business meeting agenda. If there's nothing further to come before us this morning, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Chair French and fellow commissioners, I think before we close, it would be important that we pay our respects to all of those who perished and were lost in the tragic air accident last night in Washington, D.C. The commercial airliner involved in this accident originated from Wichita yesterday afternoon. Our thoughts and prayers go out to those lost and to their family and friends. I second the motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I'll add, it's something I don't think we have sort of official flight manifests or anything yet, but the fact that it's going from Wichita to DC, it is possible that we're a small community, and Kansas government officials could be included. I know that's a flight. Commissioner Keen, you and I probably have been on similar flights. So I endorse all of your comments, and definitely something we are watching closely and don't like to see. So with that, we do have a motion and a second to adjourn, and all in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you all. Take care.
Thank you.